What's up guys, Ben Milliken here from Mystery Tackle Box. You know, over the last couple years, I've learned a technique that's salvaged so many tough days on the water for me, whether that just be out filming to get a video, or I've been fishing a tournament and it's cashed me a check. And I never thought I would say this, it's a finesse technique. Unbelievable. I'm a power fisherman, I'm talking about finesse techniques, and obviously this one has probably become my favorite finesse technique for that reason. And I'm talking about the flick shake. I know, really goofy, awkward looking baits I have in my hand right here. So in today's video, I'm going to tell you guys how I use this rigging system using these brand new exclusive baits to Mystery Tackle Box, the Ketchco Waggle Worm and the Ketchco Flickety Split, to catch more bass in salvage days when it's super, super tough. Let's get into it. So the flick shake rig is extremely difficult to rig up, so follow very, very closely. You take this jig head right here and this straight tail worm and you hook it through the middle. That's it. That's all you do with the flick shake. That is all it takes. But the beauty of a flick shake, where many guys overlook it, many guys are just throwing, you know, a wacky rig stick bait without a weight or anything. This flick shake is awesome because that weight, just the little weight, this is only a 1/8 ounce weight, pulls that worm down, so you can fish it more effectively deeper in the water column and it gets to the bottom faster, and it also gives that worm more action. You know, the Senko came on the scene, it was super, super effective because of those long wobbling action when it falls on a straight natural fall. Well, the flick shake has a weight pulling it down the middle, so it's going to flap a whole lot harder than that, and it just gets a ton of bites. In today's video, we're going to talk about two different ways I like to rig this, two different worms, two different techniques, two different presentations, two different sets of tackle I like to throw the flick shake on. Both have been very effective for me, especially the second one. So let's get right into that. So the first way we're going to talk about fishing and rigging the flick shake is the traditional method on super finesse tackle and very finesse situations. So we're talking really, really clean water, spinning rod, 610, medium light spinning rod, 6-pound test with a really nice pink, clear, translucent, watermelon, natural colored worm. So this is going to excel in a lot of the areas where you've probably heard of it excelling. You know, super clean water situations around deep docks, around deep points, any type of deep roadbed, rock pile, stuff like that, where a lot of guys have been throwing this rig over the years. It came over from Japan, you know, even just fishing it on a do-nothing bank when the water's really, really clean. For this technique to work, honestly, you need really light tackle, you need a nice natural approach, you need light line, and you need to throw it in areas where the bass have seen all different types of lures. Now, it does catch fish extremely well, although it's not my favorite way to throw it. We'll get into that in just a second. So basically what you're gonna do, you're gonna fire a cast out there in that clean water, let that bait fall to the bottom, and you're just gonna pop it up and twitch it a few times. Generally, when I'm fishing this super clean water, I'm throwing it to more isolated areas, you know, like on the end of a point, on the end of a deep grass line, or right on top of a rock pile or something like that, or end of a dock, and letting it fall straight down. Generally, since the water's so clean, you have a nice natural presentation with this flick shake method and this natural rigging system, you're gonna get bit on the fall. I will give it a couple twitches, let it fall back down, but if I don't get bit right away on that natural fall, I'm generally just gonna reel it back in, fire out another cast, and pretty much hope for the best on that situation. All right, on to method number two. Let's talk about my favorite way to rig and throw this bait, and that is to pop that little jig head and worm off that little fairy wand, tie it up to a man stick, a 7-foot medium heavy action bait caster rod, 10 to 15 pound fluorocarbon. I prefer 12 or 15 pound because I'm going to fish around a lot of heavy cover. We're going to upsize that head to a 1/4 ounce or even a 5/16 ounce, and we're going to use a much larger worm like this Biospawn Exo Stick, a fatter, more aggressive, real wide flapping and wobbling worm, 5 or 6 inches long. And once again, we're going to hook it right through the middle, right through the egg sac of that bait, and we're going to fire it out there. So this method with the bigger worm, the heavier weight, the heavier tackle has been unbelievably effective for me. Whether that be in really, really tough conditions, whether that be in conditions where you think they should be chewing, it just flat out gets bit when other stuff isn't getting bit, and it's a great way to go back through an area and catch those fish maybe you didn't get with a jig or crankbait or something like that. Now, I'm from Nebraska. We don't have a whole lot of really, really clean water, and for whatever reason, I don't understand it, this natural presentation with this straight tail worm gets bit in even the muddiest water. I'm talking 6 inches, 3 inches visibility, muddy water. Other guys are out there struggling, not catching anything. You can pull this worm out and they'll just eat it. I don't know if they can feel the vibration of that thing thumping down there, or they can feel more than we give them credit for, but for whatever reason, I throw this thing out in the same exact areas I'll throw a flipping jig or a football jig, and I'll pop it up off the bottom and they'll crush it. It catches so many fish. It's such an effective way to catch numbers and big ones when it's really, really tough. Now with this bigger bait, this bigger presentation, the way I like to fish it, once again, like I said, I usually fish in the same areas as a football jig or a flipping jig or a finesse jig for that matter, where I'm fishing like man-made cover, like a jetty, a deep rock pile, a deep brush pile, or just a nice tapering point that I know usually holds fish. I'll cast it out there, I'll let that thing fall to the bottom, I'll let the arms flap and that worm flap side to side and get down to the bottom, and then I'll just sit there, let it sit there for just a second, let that line get some slack in it, and then I'll twitch it up 3 or 4 times and let it fall again. Now, unlike that little natural presentation with the spinning rod, I'm gonna give it some harder flicks. It's a flick shake, so you wanna flick it, right? So I'm gonna pop it up 3 or 4 times just like that, let it fall down. And usually right after you pop it and right when it starts to sink is when you're gonna get that bite. And every single bite I've ever had with this, it's not gonna be a thump, it's not gonna be slack line, it's not gonna be swimming to the side, it's gonna be a tick. Every single time it's gonna be a tick. You wanna be able to feel that, so I like fluorocarbon line, I like a sensitive rod, but don't get too carried away with how light your tackle is. You can see, I've caught fish with my flipping stick with this rigging system, catches fish all over the place. Match your worm color to the conditions. You know, if it's cloudy, I like a more opaque one, like a green pumpkin. If it's sunny like today, I will throw like a smoke color as long as it has a nice lot of flat, puts out a lot of vibration. But this catches a ton of fish, guys. There it is, simple as that. Flick shake, exo stick, top of the mouth, every time. This, I can't tell you guys how effective this technique is. I catch so many fish on the flick shake in all different water conditions. He just was right there on this little brush pile right there, cast it out there, let that flick shake go to the bottom, popped it up once, nothing, popped it up again. This guy right here, whacked it. I'll take it all day. Well, that's all I got for you guys today. Seriously, get out and throw the flick shake. You're gonna catch a bunch of fish you can't catch with other baits. It's just it's a super finesse-y way to catch them, whether you're throwing it with spinning tackle and a nice natural worm, or you're bumping it up to a worm like the Exo Stick, a 5 or 6 inch fatter straight tail worm, and clean water, muddy water, throw it wherever, and I can about guarantee you're gonna get some extra bites. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I'm out of here.